In the intricate tapestry of international relations, decisions made by one nation can reverberate across continents, affecting the socio-economic and political landscapes of others. A recent and poignant example of this interconnectedness is the suspension of U.S. foreign aid to South Africa, a move initiated by former U.S. President Donald Trump. This decision has profound implications for South Africa, particularly concerning President Cyril Ramaphosa's ambitious plans to address historical injustices and foster economic equity. To fully grasp the magnitude of this development, it's essential to delve into the historical context that has shaped South Africa's current socio-political environment. The nation's history is marred by a prolonged period of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination known as apartheid, which lasted from 1948 until the early 1990s. During this era, the white minority government implemented policies that systematically disenfranchised the black majority, leading to significant disparities in wealth, land ownership, and access to essential services. One of the most contentious issues stemming from the apartheid era is land ownership. The 1913 Natives Land Act restricted black South Africans from owning or renting land in most parts of the country, confining them to designated areas that constituted a mere fraction of the nation's land. This legislation laid the foundation for a deeply entrenched system of land dispossession, resulting in a significant concentration of land in the hands of the white minority. Despite the end of apartheid over 3 decades ago, these land inequalities persist, with vast, sparsely populated lands owned by white farmers surrounding densely populated black townships. In an effort to redress these historical injustices, the post-apartheid government initiated land reform programs aimed at redistributing land to the black majority. However, progress has been painstakingly slow, hindered by bureaucratic inefficiencies, legal challenges, and a lack of resources. As a result, economic disparities remain stark, and the issue of land reform continues to be a flashpoint in South African politics. Upon assuming office in 2018, President Cyril Ramaphosa prioritized accelerating land reform as a means to promote economic inclusivity and rectify historical wrongs. His administration proposed a policy of land expropriation without compensation, a move designed to facilitate equitable access to land. This policy culminated in the signing of a new Land Expropriation Act in February 2025, allowing the government to confiscate land without compensation in certain cases. The act aims to bridge the stark divide in land ownership and address the enduring legacy of apartheid-era dispossession. However, the enactment of this legislation has reignited racial tensions within South Africa and drawn international criticism. Former U.S. President Donald Trump responded by signing an executive order suspending all foreign developmental assistance to South Africa, citing concerns over alleged rights violations against white farmers, including violent attacks and the new land expropriation law. He further offered white South Africans, particularly Afrikaners, refugee status in the United States, suggesting that they were facing discrimination and potential persecution in their homeland. This decision has significant implications for South Africa's health sector, particularly its HIV/AIDS programs. The United States, through the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, has been a major contributor to South Africa's efforts to combat HIV/AIDS. In 2024, the U.S. provided nearly $6.6 billion in humanitarian assistance across sub-Saharan Africa, with a substantial portion allocated to HIV/AIDS initiatives. The suspension of aid has led to immediate consequences, with several NGOs, such as the WITS Reproductive Health and HIV Institute, announcing plans to halt services due to the cessation of funds. The South African government has refuted the allegations of land confiscation and mistreatment of white farmers, asserting that the expropriation law is a constitutionally mandated process aimed at ensuring equitable land distribution. President Ramaphosa has emphasized that the law is not a tool for arbitrary land seizure but a legal mechanism to address historical injustices and promote social equity. He has expressed a willingness to engage with the U.S. administration to clarify the country's land reform policies and address any concerns. Within South Africa, the response to Trump's actions has been mixed. Some groups, particularly those representing white South Africans, have rejected the notion of seeking refuge elsewhere, expressing a commitment to remain in the country and work towards addressing injustices. Organizations like AfriForum and the Solidarity Movement have emphasized their dedication to South Africa, dismissing the idea of relocation. Representatives from Orania, an Afrikaner-only enclave, affirmed their love for South Africa and rejected refugee status. The international community is closely monitoring these developments. Critics of South Africa's land reform policies express concerns that expropriation without compensation could lead to economic instability and deter investment. They draw parallels to Zimbabwe's land reform program, which had adverse economic consequences. However, supporters argue that land reform is essential for rectifying historical injustices and promoting social equity. The suspension of U.S. aid by former President Trump underscores the complexities of balancing domestic policy objectives with international relations. It highlights the challenges that South Africa faces in implementing land reform policies that address historical injustices while maintaining economic stability and fostering positive diplomatic ties. Looking ahead, the path forward will require careful navigation. South Africa must continue to engage in dialogue with international partners to explain its policies and address concerns. In conclusion, the suspension of U.S. aid to South Africa by former President Donald Trump brings to the forefront critical issues of land reform, historical injustice, and international diplomacy. It serves as a reminder of the delicate balance that nations must maintain in pursuing policies that address internal disparities while engaging with the global community. We encourage you to share your thoughts on this complex issue in the comments below. If you found this analysis informative, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth discussions on current global events. Your engagement helps us continue to provide insightful content. The long-term impact of Trump's decision to suspend aid to South Africa remains uncertain, but it has undoubtedly added another layer of complexity to the country's economic and political challenges. With the loss of crucial U.S. funding, South Africa may need to seek alternative sources of financial support, potentially looking towards other international partners such as China, Russia, or the European Union. However, shifting alliances in global diplomacy can come with its own set of challenges, as new partnerships often involve trade-offs, political conditions, or economic dependencies. This move could also push South Africa to accelerate self-reliance strategies, focusing on domestic revenue generation, tax reforms, and boosting local industries to offset the loss of foreign assistance.